When you think of Winnipeg North End, what comes to mind? Let's be honest. For me, it was crime, gangs, a no-go zone after dark, and Winnipeg's problem area. But here's the thing, North End isn't just about crime. It's actually one of the most important, historically wise neighborhoods in Canada. And right now, it also might be at risk because of gentrification, redevelopment, and rising real estate. So let's dig in how this neighborhood became what it is today and what's next for this neighborhood in the future. The North End story began in the late 1800s with the Canadian Pacific Railway. The tracks divided Winnipeg into two sections. In the south of the tracks were the business people, the elite, and the powerful used to live. And north of the tracks were the poverty, the workers, and the immigrants used to settle. That physical divide turned into a social one, and it is still present today. In the early 1900s, the North End was packed with newcomers. Ukrainians, Jews, Poles, Germans, and Italians, they all lived in this small part of town. And they were crammed into small houses with proper sanitations and sometimes not even plumbing. Selkirk Avenue became the heart of the newcomers. Jewish-owned clothing shops, Ukrainian bakeries, Polish newspapers. At one point, 2/3 of Winnipeg immigrants live here. It wasn't easy at all. Poverty and disease were pretty common in that area. But these communities built a neighborhood full with culture, resilience, and political energy. And we'll talk about that later. In 1919, that political energy exploded. Many of the leaders from the Winnipeg General Strikes, actually one of the largest strikes in Canada, came from the North End. Workers here demanded fair wages and better conditions. They challenged the business class across the tracks. The strike failed, but it cemented the activism and resilience in the North End. After World War II, things began to change. The Jewish and Europeans that were living there started to move out to neighborhoods like San Vital, River Heights, Garden City, among others. The North End was left with aging housing stock and fewer resources, and at the same time, indigenous people started moving in, seeking work and education. But many arrived to a neighborhood already struggling with unemployment, with factories closing. Poverty got worse, and by 1970s and 80s, the reputation of the North End shifted from immigrant community to a danger zone. Today, the stigma is impossible to ignore. Winnipeg's crime severity index rose about 20% from 2021 to 2022, the largest increase of any major Canadian city. In Lower Selkirk Park, right in the North End, about 60% of residents live in poverty, with median income around $1,500 a year. Health outcomes are shocking. In the past report, men in the North End lived up to 16 years less in wealthier neighborhoods. These numbers are real, and they explain a lot of the situation of the North End today. But here's what the headlines don't say. Poverty and crime are an accident. And yet the North End isn't just about struggle, it's also about survival. The Burke Clan Patrol walked the streets at night, offering compassion, food, and safety. Here's where things get controversial: the future. Right now, developers are looking to Winnipeg's core. Just south of the North End, the $650 million Portage Place redevelopment is underway, adding a healthcare hub and residential towers with promises of affordable housing. In the North End itself, some are being built for as little as $250,000 with no down payment. Part of the social enterprise projects to keep housing affordable. At the same time, older homes are dirt cheap compared to the rest of the city, making the North End one of the last affordable places for first-time buyers and investors. And that raises a question. Would this neighborhood be revitalized for the people who actually live in that neighborhood, or gentrified by outsiders who just look at it as cheap real estate? On the one hand, you have safer streets, better housing, and more opportunities. And on the other hand, you have higher taxes, rising rent, and speculation. I'll admit it, I used to avoid the North End because I saw it as broken, dangerous, and not worth my time. But after learning its history, now I see it differently, with political movements, immigrant struggle, and indigenous resilience. So what do you think? Is the North End a misunderstood neighborhood, a lost cause, or maybe a potential gem that we have right in the center of the city? Drop your comments in the section below, and I'll see you in the next video.